Hey everyone, I appreciate you being here. 13.5 is here, the wipe has happened. Let's get straight into it. Randomized loot container spawns wasn't a highlight on Battlestate Games' 5-month roadmap, but it has already started to change the way we play the game. The solution I'm offering? Static loose loot spawns, and they can be found throughout all Escape from Tarkov maps. Static loose loot can be found on the ground, on shelves, on top of boxes, even in piles of trash. This feature has been around for some time, but more numerous than spawn locations, particularly on the newer maps and the older map expansions. I've wanted to share this loot run on Lighthouse for a while now, and I knew this was a perfect opportunity to debut something special. In your typical loot run videos where creators show empty containers and what a run can offer in one iteration, I've decided to create a video that contains loot from over multiple runs, giving you a feast for the eyes and a realistic vision of what you can expect. As I'm sure you've already noticed, this run pertains to the village on Lighthouse. You may be thinking, what? The chalet and water treatment has the best loot. Sure, but not if you want to survive. This run boasts a high survival rate because most players and scavs are busy looting those high tier areas instead of the village. If you're a scav, there's close extracts with plenty of loot along the way if village seems sparse. And if you'd like to keep it simple as a PMC with a quick in and out, you'll have the pick of the litter in this quiet little town. Okay, so for orientation purposes, there's the chalet, there's the second chalet in the distance, Pride Rock. And I typically like to run this as a scav, and I spawn in these areas most of the time and just start heading west towards village. So I know that construction site isn't a part of the village, but whether you're spawning and going to village or heading to the extract, you want to hit this area for the loose loot. Got the TP on top of there. Of course, you want to see the concrete pad, look down, and we're going to come on over here, jump up on this thing, and you're going to start to see my terrible transitions between my Twitch streams, and I was either doing that or recording locally. By the way, come see me, twitch.tv/fanboynate, and remember, the O in fanboy is a 0. Find ourselves a Clin wiper down there. Nice little cricket, gonna need that at the beginning of wipe. Keck tape. And from a different angle, we're approaching the same area. We're going to find a thermometer on the ground where the Clin was. So you can probably tell that it's the same category of loot that you're going to find in these same areas on the ground. Sometimes it varies between like ammunition and food. It'll be either ammunition or food, that kind of deal. And if you don't like the particular loot that you're seeing, then at least you know what category the loot is in, what kind of loot it is. This area is going to have a lot of that construction material. I believe the category is defined as technical equipment. I think that's what BSG has it defined as. You can find it in technical supply crates and such. Up here, I just like to check. You never know what's going to spawn. Spawn rates can be real low, so even though I've run this a million times, I'm still checking areas. So we got the WD-40, the dynamite, and a nice little tool set. Here we go now into the village. One great tip I can pass on to new players and even old players if you don't already do this: buy 2 lucky scav junk boxes from therapists off the rip. It's going to cost you about 2,200,000 rubles in total, but it's great for stash management. Collecting all items, since sometimes it's hard to tell if you're not always looking at tarkovtracker.com, which that's a great website to visit if you already haven't. But it's hard to keep track of everything that you might need or want to hold on to, and you can put that all into those lucky scav junk boxes. And this house right here is very integral to this whole loot run. So we're going to come inside and make a left here first, looking on those shelves on the right for food and that kind of stuff. Got spawns on the ground, and in here there's electronic rare spawns. I found graphics cards and iridium and stuff. Look under the bed a little bit, not too far, and then on top of the bed. And in here I always look in the boxes, and I look in these little containers on the ground, the milk crates. There's some food on the table, but in these bowls here and stuff on the ground, sometimes some rare stuff can spawn. Some oat flakes. It's good to even find that stuff and collect it early in wipe, because you never know when you're going to need it. Might need it on this run, might need it on the next, and it's free. It's going to dehydrate you in the case of oat flakes, but I'm always carrying some apple juice or water or something on me in case I get into a situation, a long fight, waiting at a bush or something, because I just want to survive. That is, of course, the most important thing in early wipe is survival. That's why we're sticking to the village and we're not going to those better places for loot like the water treatment plant and the chalets, because we want to live. So right here, some rare loot can spawn in that closet right there. I found wooden clocks and ravens and that kind of stuff. And right here, that's it. Rare electronic spawn. Now they have stimulants as well. I found vertexes there, gold skull rings, all sorts of wonderful stuff. Here in the sink, food spawn. Next to the boombox radio there's a power bank and other electronics. And there's that food and ammunition kind of spawn I was talking about. So some ravens and things that stick out can spawn here. They're easier to see, but also gold chains and stuff that you can't. So I try to scroll over it and see if my reticle pops up with any loot. So full disclosure, some of this was actually filmed before the wipe. So these jackets and duffel bags and stuff, they don't always spawn here. But at least you know that they are in the area. They can spawn there. And keep your eyes peeled for the new ones. So just like the boombox in the other room. And these chairs with the crumbs or whatever that crap is, you might want to crouch down and scroll over them because bitcoins could spawn on them. I think there's about 3 of them in this loot run. So come in here and there's an intel spawn on the table. Look on the floor as well and on that chair. Nice little toolbox that spawns about 50% of the time. Same thing with the little med bag we're about to run into in a second here. All right, we got that pillow there, the shelves, and on top of the bed is pretty often I find stuff there. Some morphine. I found chalet was where that morphine was, CMSs, that kind of stuff. We are just grabbing up everything we can because we don't know when we might want to use it. I wasn't sure if I had checked that, so I went back there. And then over here, we can have some ammunition spawns. Nice little BP there. We're going to roll out of the house and come to this shed first. And here we have on the ground and on top of those barrels I just looked up at. So relay. So we got electronics. Ooh, a sledgehammer and water filter, man. I love to hang on to those until mid-wipe or so. And when I'm making moonshine or when other people are and they have that unlocked, I can sell it for a very, very nice price. Now over here on this table, we're going to find some food and some ammunition. And then you want to be careful when you look into these kind of containers out in the open. Obviously, most of it's offline here with this video, so I'm not scared of anything at that point. But down here, got a little Plex on the ground. And another one of those Bitcoin chairs with the crumbs I was talking about. Looking on the table for the wrench, and look on these shelves right here. Down here on the ground, you see the motor, and on top of the boxes there. Come over to this lovely porta potty that loves to spawn some food for you. Tasty. It's got a little extra flavor. Run up that little muddy embankment, and then inside of this tool shed, TP, we're going to need that early wipe for our hideout. Propane, some screws, and a spark plug. Spark plug's another thing we're going to need for our hideout. Then on top of this box right here, and the table. Car battery. That's lovely to find early wipe. We're going to need that for a therapist task. So tip number 2 that I can give to new players especially is wear armor in early wipe. Really wear armor anytime you can, but in early wipe do not have gear fear with those first little bits of armor that you get, and craft them in the hideout when you can. Everybody has low pen ammunition and just bad ammo, so it can be the difference between extracting or a quick death. Over here, we got the propane on the ground and some nice stuff in this toolbox. I think I found some moonshines in this area before, here and over by the well, which I'll show you in a second. But first, we're going to go over here to the van. And I believe it's another ammo/food spawn. Yep, ammo and food. Sugar. Sugar's just like my water filters. I like to hang on to those until the middle of wipe. I don't care how much space they take up in my stash. I'm keeping the sugars. All right, inside this little shed, the stuff spawns in the box to the left there. And we got some D-fuel right there on the bench. Coming to the second area of this. On top of this workbench, we're going to find things like that power cord. And we're going to jump on top of here because I found gold chains in that little pot or pan or whatever it is. Power cords are great because if you find 2 of them, you can craft them in the hideout and make 8 wires, I believe it is. And wires are going for a lot right now in the beginning of wipe. Everybody needs wires for their hideout. Come up in this house, and we got a nice technical supply crate right here. I believe all of the big supply crates like that, basically anything that can actually act as cover, those things are going to stay static in their spawns, because that technical supply crate has been there every time I run my few scavs I've done so far and a couple PMCs on Lighthouse. And I've run this loot run, and guess what? I've survived every time except for one time. There was a couple PMCs waiting for me inside of that first house, the big house with all the electronic spawns in there. Got another jacket, and then we're going to go into this room here. And we're going to look on the ground and on the couch. Yep, there's some money there. Don't worry, I'll turn around and get it. Electronic spawn. Yep, there we go, grabbing it. Looking over in there in the closet, and then I hope you guys like Tarkov Parkour. Get a nice running start, and we stuck it. So first I'm gonna look down on the ground, and then on top of here, I'm always finding me houses. Yeah, see, I'm looking down again just to double check. And you can grab this toolbox when it spawns right through there. And over here at the gazebo, we're gonna have some food. As you can see, I picked up a vodka there. If you guys see anything that I've missed, let me know in the comments. Look on top of there next to the telephone, and then on top of that couch. If you also think I've missed a place entirely when it comes to this village run, let me know in the comments as well. I'd love to know new places. I love this run. Got a milk and some croutons. We're gonna need them croutons. Those and the Amelia Rye. Now this house is a particular soft spot in my heart because of this room here. I have found a graphics card on top of this box where that MGT is. So you can find some pretty rare electronics you see down there. And then don't forget to look on these side tables because voila, another power bank. Inside here, I'm always going to look in the containers, and a duffel does spawn on that couch now with 13.5. If you guys like this just in general and you want me to make more of these videos where I can show you all the different types of loot and multiple loot runs, let me know in the comments as well, because you know, it may take a lot of work, but I'd be willing to do it. But it has to be niched down to just one small area like this. So in this shed, it is numerous in the loose loot. Gonna need the measuring tape. I like these L&F screwdrivers because you could sell them to therapists for about 20k rubles. And when I'm managing my loot here, you can see that they take up 2 slots. And I like to try to make sure that each slot is worth about 10k rubles. Just maximizing everything that I'm getting on the run. So those little white tubes and wires plus a blue tape can be crafted into corrugated hoses, which they're always selling for a decent amount throughout the entire wipe. And of course, the wrenches, the pliers, the blue tape, and the measuring tape can be traded, I believe, or maybe crafted, either one, for the tool sets, which people are always buying those up for their quests. I believe it's craft, because that'll make it found and raid, but if not, then you can at least trade for them for, I think it's mechanic maybe, so I may be wrong about the craft, but regardless, you're going to need them yourself, and not having to pay for them on the flea is great. So hold on to your tool sets. So in here, on the couch, and there's a chair right there, I think the stool on the left, right before I move forward. Oh yeah, we got our hunter matches on top of the table there. In here, Amelia Rye, wonderful. There's another Bitcoin chair, Intel spawns in that side table, and then wood clocks and ravens and such right there where I bent down on the end of the bed. This is what I like to call the giving sink, kind of like the giving tree on customs. It's always giving. Right there on the floor, tucked away. Usually I go this direction. I check for food on the tables and such, and then I go to that area and the giving sink in the coat. I try to be as efficient as possible. Obviously, efficiency is what's going to save our lives and keep us extracting with our heads intact. Just those little efficiencies when you're in the house gets you in and out very quick. So behind the house here, toolbox spawns about 50% of the time as well. And then on top of this table. Look on top of the barrel there. We got another one of those wooden toolboxes. It's not always there now, but usually either that's there or the other toolbox. 10 toolboxes total, 5 tech spawns total. Oh, that was a nice transition. See, I got better as I went on with editing. We got some morphine and some food. That gives all kinds of stuff. And this shed is awesome. This is my hose shed. Yep, there it is. There's a hose. Metal cutting scissors to help craft those different containers in the hideout, and some bolts there, measuring tape. Jump on top, look inside this thing. Bolts and all. Gonna need that at the beginning of wipe. For some reason, it took me a long time to find my one all found in raid last wipe. Okay, so we're coming towards the end, but we're not quite there yet. Stay tuned. We're going to come around the corner here. And I believe I had to extract at first, but then I remembered that I wanted to make a right back there to go inside that last little nook to see if there's anything. But on top of this bench here, you can't loot that red bag, but as you can see, there's some ammo right there. And this is the Path to Shoreline extract. I have a lot of extra clips showing the hideout at the grotto and hideout under the landing stage extracts for scavs. I think I'm going to do that in a separate video. This is my first long form video, so I'm eager to post it and see what kind of reaction I get and kind of engagement. I've worked longer than I'd like to admit on this, but it's been a lot of fun and I've learned a whole lot. So instead of going down to extract, you want to make a right at that wood pile and come through here, and inside the door about to go through, there is a toolbox spawn and some loose loot. Look inside that grill too. So thank you for being here, and if you're still watching, I really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what you think. Until next time.